Here is a secret command which most AutoCAD users never knew they can use to draw a 3D wall, just like in Revit, AutoCAD, and other similar software, and also to convert a 2D floor plan like this into 3D, just like what we have here in AutoCAD. In this video, I'm going to show you how to convert a 2D floor plan like this in AutoCAD into 3D using the Polysolid command, which makes it very simple and easy to convert a 2D floor plan into 3D floor plan. Now, before I get started with this tutorial, if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and the notification button to get updates on my latest videos. And if you've been following me, once again I say thank you for stopping by for another session of this tutorial. Now, to get started with showing you how to convert a 2D floor plan like this into 3D using Polysolid command, I'll click on the next tab where I have a complete 2D floor plan which I made in one of my drawings. So you can see that I have two viewports, one on the left and the other on the right. And on this left part of the viewport, we're going to have the 2D floor plan, and on the right part of the viewport, we're going to switch the view from top view to southwest isometric view, where we can be able to view our drawings in isometric view. So on the left part of the viewport, we have the 2D floor plan like this. And to get started with drawing this floor plan or converting this floor plan from 2D to 3D, we're going to go over to where we have the layers, and I've created different layers here. So I will switch to the layer that has the 3D walls, and back to the drawing, I'm going to convert this or change the view from shade of gray to 2D wireframe. And then the command which I'm going to use to convert this to 3D is called the Polysolid command. So I'll type Polysolid command on the keyboard and I'll press enter. And on the command bar here we have options, we have object, we have height, we have width, and we have justify. So I'll type H for height, and in this case I'll use a height of 3000 millimeters, which is going to be the height of the building. And then I'll type W for width, and in this case I'll type 225 millimeters, which is the width of the wall of this very particular building. And then I'll type J for justify, and for the justification here I'm going to go with left justify, and I'll press enter. And then I'll move over to where I have the 2D floor plan, and from this edge where I have my wall, I can click to start creating the 3D walls using this Polysolid command, just like this. So we click on this point, and as we keep drawing on the viewport where we have it in 3D, you can see that we have the 3D they are quite short and at the bottom part of this drawing, so we're going to move these walls. So what we're going to do, we select the walls which we created one after the other, just like this, and then we are going to use the move command. So we type M for move, and we specify the base point to be any of this point, and we enter the coordinate. For the X coordinate, we are moving by 0, for the Y coordinate we are moving by 0, and for the Z coordinate we are moving by a distance of 2400 millimeters, and then we press enter, and then we press enter to accept this. So again, we're going to select these entire walls, and then we're going to union, or we're going to join them together using the union command. So we type UNI for union, and then we're going to select the entire drawing to join all of this. So press enter, and these walls are now joined together. Now where we have the 2D or where we have the 3D floor plan, we can see that we have this point where we have the column and the column base, and to be able to get this, we'll use the extrude command. So type EXT for extrude, and we'll enter extrusion, or we'll first select the object which we want to extrude, and we'll press enter, and we're going to use the extrusion height of 2400, and we press enter. Again, we're going to repeat the extrude command. We select the column base, and we're going to use extrusion of minus 1000 or 150, and we press enter. Then we can then rotate to do the same thing on the other part of this drawing. So where we have this column as well, we're going to use extrude, and we select the column here, and we press enter. We extrude by 2400, and we repeat extrude command, and for the column base this will be minus 150, and we press enter. So we have the columns created like this. Again, we are going to zoom, and we can select the entire diagram or entire drawing and join them. So we use union command, and we press enter. We select the entire drawing, and we have it joined together like this. Now the next thing we have to do is to create our windows and door opening. So before I do that, I will switch back to Southwest isometric view, and you can see our 3D walls or 3D floor plan looking like this. So to create the windows and the doors opening, I'll go back to the left viewport where I have this floor plan in 2D, and then I'll go over to the layers, and I will switch to layers where we have the windows, and then I will use the Polysolid in the X coordinate we are moving by 0, in Y coordinate we are moving by 0, and on the Z coordinate we are moving by 900. So we type 900 and we press enter, and you can see that the windows on the 3D viewport is moved some distance of 900 from the floor level of this very particular floor plan. Then the next thing we have to do is to subtract the windows for the windows opening on the walls. So we type subtract command, and we press enter. We select the walls, we press enter, and then we select the entire drawing, we press enter, and you can see that the doors, or rather the windows, has been subtracted from this very particular drawing. Now if you look at the windows, we have two types of windows. We have the smaller window here, and we have the bigger size of the window. So what we did here is, for the bigger size window, we're going to repeat the same thing for the smaller size window. So back to 2D viewport, we're going to repeat Polysolid command, and we enter the height of this window to be 700, millimeters, we press enter. We can then draw for the smaller windows just like this, all through. So having drawn the smaller windows, the next thing also is to move it some distance up. So if you look at the 2D, 3D drawing on this other side, the smaller windows are located at the floor level. So we're going to move this up by a distance of 1400. So we go to the 2D floor plan, we select this window and we right click and also select similar windows, and we type M for move command. We can specify any point as our base point, and then on the X coordinate we are moving by 0, on Y coordinate we are moving by 0, and then on the Z coordinate we are moving by a distance of 1400 millimeters, and we press enter. And look at the 3D drawing of this floor plan. The windows have been moved to some distance of 1400 millimeters on the height of this wall. So again, we're going to subtract to get the smaller windows. So we repeat subtract command and we select the wall, we press enter, we select the entire drawing, we press enter, and the opening for the smaller window has been created. The last thing we have to do now is to create the opening for the doors. So for that, we go over to our layers again and we go to 3D doors, have that selected, and back to the 2D drawing. We will repeat Polysolid command, and in this case we type H for height, and the height of our door will be 2100 millimeters, and we press enter. And where we have the door openings or the door on the 2D floor plan, we can then create the Polysolid, after which so when we're done drawing the doors, now we have to subtract the doors for the door opening in the floor plan. And to do that, we're going to go to our 3D floor plan and we're going to select these doors, or we go to 3D floor plan and we type the subtract command, we press enter, we select the walls and press enter. We can then select the entire drawing and press enter, and when we look at this, when we rotate, we can see that the openings for the doors has been created in 3D. So we can take a look at this just like this in 3D. And the last thing we have to do is to create the floor of this very particular 3D wall or 3D floor plan. So back to where we have the 2D drawing, we can select the polyline command and we can draw tracing the outline of the edges of the wall just like this. But before we do that, we go to the layers and we can switch to a layers for dimension, and then we select polyline command. We can then draw through these walls or through the outline of the walls just like this. And when we are done with that, we can zoom extend and we can then extrude the floor using extrude command. So on the 3D viewport, we're going to zoom extend and we can rotate to see this diagram very well. We zoom and this is the 3D, or this is the polyline which we created earlier on. So we type extrude command and we press enter. We're going to select the 3D polyline which we created and we press enter, and we're going to extrude this by a distance of -150 downward, and we press enter. So we can see that the floor of this very particular 3D walls has been created just like this. Let's switch to southwest isometric view and then we can rotate to see the 3D floor plan which we created. So guys, this is how you can convert a 3D or a 2D floor plan in AutoCAD into 3D using the Polysolid command, which is the easiest way to convert a 2D floor plan to 3D in AutoCAD. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share to your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial.